Big agencies look flashy on the outside, but behind the scenes, it's usually chaos. And it's probably the reason you're not getting the results you expected. I know this firsthand because I spent almost 5 years working at 2 very big agencies, and I'm going to share with you what I saw going on behind the scenes. The biggest thing people don't realize is that the account managers are absolutely stretched thin. When I worked at these agencies, it was expected that you're going to work with 4 to 7 clients at a time. And what happens is you kind of become more of a glorified account manager instead of an actual strategist. And what's usually happening is on top of the account manager, you have a senior account manager, and they're responsible for maybe 5 or 10 more junior account managers. So in total, they're probably responsible for maybe 30 or 40 clients. And they really don't have the time to give every brand the attention they deserve. And what happens is you usually find that the big accounts who are spending a lot of money get a lot of the resources and most of the attention. And the smaller accounts tend to just get put on autopilot, and it's just kind of, you get whatever's left over. What happens is that the senior account managers are usually running from meeting to meeting. They don't have a lot of time to actually give to focusing purely on strategy or how they can actually help. So you end up having a lot of playbook options. What I mean by that is a lot of agencies just have a playbook that they roll out for every client that they work with, and it's for welcome series, checkout abandon, browse abandon. There's an exact template of what they're going to use, kind of what they're going to say, and there's really not a lot of extra effort that goes into it. What happens is a lot of things end up falling through the cracks. And when you're trying to manage 4 or 7 clients at a time, it's very challenging. I'm working with a copywriter, I'm working with a designer, sometimes a developer. So it's really just trying to get all the emails out the door, get them to the client, get them approved. There's always fires popping up. So it's really very much reactive role where you're just kind of waiting for things and fires to occur, and then you got to go put them out. And what happens is there's a very surface level understanding of the brands that we work with because there's really not a lot of time to spend in the creative process or in the strategic process, learning about the brand, learning about the market, and trying to come up with unique angles or ideas. And really, marketing at the heart of it is coming up with those unique angles and ideas. Everyone's selling, there's thousands of brands selling the same products, but when you come to those breakthrough moments, it really comes from not using a template or cookie cutter, but actually trying to come up with unique angles or hooks or things that your competitors aren't saying. And when you end up at a big agency like that, there's really not a lot of time for your account manager to spend that and come up with that for you. So it's not that people that work at the agencies are lazy or they don't care. Friends with a lot of people still at agencies, and they're some of the best people that I've ever worked with. But it's just that the system of a big agency is very demanding, and you're kind of in survival mode all the time. And when you're in survival mode, it's very hard to do good, deep work. And that's not going to be a good fit for a lot of brands that are in the growth phase. So when I was an account manager, my day kind of looked like spending a lot of times on calls with clients and then basically moving tasks around. So I was trying to get an email, get it to a copywriter, get it to a designer, get it to a developer, and then get it to the client, go back and forth for edits. And you're doing this for 7 different brands, sometimes for maybe 10 different emails per account. So that's like 70 emails that you're responsible for this entire time. So in order to compensate for all that massive volume of work, you really have to streamline and come up with kind of templates. So the copywriters, half the time they're not researching the brand, they're just reading a brief that I created for them, and they're using probably ChatGPT or AI to write it, which is fine. But if you don't have that understanding of the market and the brand, it's going to come out sounding all the same, looking all the same, and that's kind of how it is. So I think big agencies are a good fit for brands that are bigger and they have kind of a team built out. They've already proven the model, and they really just need someone to come in and kind of execute. I found that the best clients we worked with are brands that were already basically well established. They were already growing 8 figures or more, and they really need someone to come in and just execute because they already have a strategy that's working in place. So basically brands that just need to keep the machine moving, they need someone to come in and execute, keep email campaigns sending, and they just need someone to kind of plug and play. Those are usually the best fit for these big agencies because it's just an execution play. They don't need to spend a lot of time developing strategy or thinking of other ways for growth. It could happen because they're spending a little bit more time with you, but typically those are the best fits when you just need someone to come in, plug and play, and just kind of operate at what you're doing already. Big agencies really aren't good fit for brands that are growing and maybe need custom strategies or some a little bit extra attention. So they're at the phase where maybe they've been handling all themselves and they need someone, an expert, to come in and look at everything that they're doing and figure out a way to optimize it, and not just come in and slap a template or something that they found online and just push play. They need someone to come in, optimize, and understand the business, and then look for new ways of growth, whether that's with direct mail, subscription, or loyalty program, something extra that can be added into the mix. And when you're at a big agency, and when I was an account manager, I really did not have the time. I was not able to explore direct mail. I was not able to explore a subscription platform. And as soon as I left that world and started my own micro agency, I was able to do that. So I have a client I've worked with now for a year, and I was able to dive into their subscription platform, understand that, learn about it, and able to help them, reduce churn rates and grow that aspect of their business, where before I really didn't have the time to do that. And that's one thing you need to keep in mind. Brands that are growing and kind of in that mid-size, you need agility, you need creativity, and you need kind of fast moves. And most big agencies aren't built for that. They're built for executing at a very high level, but oftentimes that extra strategy that you need is not going to be there. If you're growing, you need more than just execution. You need flexibility. You need someone to come in and have some strategy and also have that freedom to test ideas. Because when I was working at big agencies, there's sort of this fear that the client is always going to leave. Because of that, you really don't want to test new ideas or have an idea that fails. So you send out a campaign, you split test something, and you're trying something a little bit outside the box. Maybe that challenges the client a little bit. And if it fails, sometimes that's not good for a big agency because they really just want to kind of keep you coming back. So they tend to play it very safe and not push you as a brand or try some ideas that could fail, but on the flip side could lead to some very big results and have some massive improvements. So I'm not saying big agencies are bad. I worked with them before and I had a great time. Also friends with many people that run agencies or work at agencies themselves, but I'm just saying that the system as a whole is not always a great fit for smaller brands or middle-sized brands that are growing and just need a little bit of extra attention. So after this whole 5 years experience, that was why I went out on my own and started my own micro agency, where I really am very selective about who I work with, only work with a handful of clients at a time, where we can really focus on the whole retention marketing world. So email marketing, SMS, direct mail, subscription, all of that is something that I can focus on and give my attention to and work with the brand, do deep market research, come up with unique ideas, angles, and hooks. And I really did not have that time or that ability to do that when I was working at a big agency. If you want to learn more about email marketing, click here to watch another video. If you're frustrated with your agency or feeling like they're not really cutting it for you anymore, click below. We can get in touch and have a chat about it. I'll catch you next time.